Hello guys, Oscar Hotel 8 Sierra Tango November Julian here for Off Grid Ham Radio. What you're looking at is the Lab599 TX-500 mic Papa. This is the latest portable radio offering from Lab599. I'm going to go through all the specs of this radio with you, tell you why it exists, what it's all about, compare it to the original TX-500, which is a pretty popular QRP radio. And finally, we're going to talk about why this might actually be the very first HF radio designed and targeted at the survival and preparedness communities. All right, guys, let's get started. So let's start off by talking about the most important specs and features of the TX-500 mic Papa. First and foremost, it supports SSB, CW, AM, FM, and all digital modes via an interface. Frequency range 0.5 MHz up to 56 MHz. It's got a built-in automatic antenna tuner. That antenna tuner works from HF up to 45 MHz, and then from 45 MHz to 56 MHz, the antenna tuner is disabled. Current consumption on receive is up to 100 milliamps. That's with the backlight on and the preamplifiers and filters, things like that. External power when not running on the internal battery is 9 to 15 volts and up to 3 amps on transmit. Operating temperature range -10 Celsius to -60 Celsius. I'll put those in Fahrenheit up on the screen. The dimensions, length, width, height, 226 millimeters, 90 millimeters times 31 millimeters. And again, I'll put those in imperial measurements up on the screen. Weight with the battery pack and the cells installed in the battery pack, 1.18 kilograms or 1,100 grams. It's got a high contrast monochrome LCD display, which is completely daylight readable in direct sunlight. Its resolution is 192 times 96 pixels. Frequency stability, plus or minus 0.5 ppm, from -10 Celsius up to +60 Celsius. And it's got 100 programmable channels. For the average ham radio operator going out doing portable work, trying to fill that logbook, the first difference they'll notice between the TX-500 mic Papa and the TX-500 is the lack of a spectral display. Now, I know the lack of a spectrum display can be quite infuriating to the typical ham radio operator, but we need to think about the focus of the TX-500 mic Papa, as it was designed for pragmatic field communications, the type of communications that take place in adverse conditions or rough terrain, where the survivability of our communications gear is more important than the clever bells and whistles we often see in ham radio marketing campaigns. Whether or not you should buy the TX-500 mic Papa depends on whether or not you look at communications the same way we look at our sidearms. I guess the bottom line is, if you're like myself, who believes communications gear is critical life-saving tech, then I suppose the TX-500 mic Papa might just be for you. But let's move on. The TX-500 mic Papa has a different form factor than the original TX-500. You can clearly see that the TX-500 has connectors on both sides of the radio. The TX-500 mic Papa has minimized the number of connectors on the radio and positioned those connectors on one side of the radio. So they've done their best to remove the wire mess. So where the TX-500 had, I believe, 5 or 6 connectors, 3 on either side, the TX-500 mic Papa has an in connector for an antenna port, and then a mic port, or mic and CW input-output, as well as a data port, which also has input for 12-volt DC. On the bottom of the TX-500 mic Papa, we have a normal DC input for charging the battery and powering the radio, but we also have a USB-C power delivery input. Now, the TX-500 mic Papa is also designed to stand upright, for example, in a Manpack radio pouch that connects to your plate carrier or your backpack or something like that. Whereas the TX-500, the original model, was more of a desktop or laptop type rig. Now, one of the final differences between the TX-500 Mic Papa and the TX-500 is that the Mic Papa has a smaller display. I've already mentioned that we don't have the spectral display. That needed to go because we have a smaller display on the TX-500 Mic Papa. That smaller display is there to ensure it doesn't get broken, limits the amount of damage if the radio is dropped, and where the TX-500 original model had encoders for tuning, for example, the VFO, RF gain, and the volume controls. These were all encoders, but encoders can be broken. Because the Mic Papa is meant for survivability, all of the controls are through push buttons. This is a bit strange at first, but really, if the lack of a VFO is a deal breaker for you, we have another option, actually two other options, and we'll talk about those later in the video. My version of the TX-500 Mic Papa came with the BP550 battery pack. My TX-500 did not come with a battery pack, but I added the TX-500 BP500 battery pack later on, as well as the BP500 from DL4KA when I'm using also his PA500 amplifier. So I use that more powerful battery pack. But you can see here from the side angle, both radios with the BP500 and BP550 battery packs. The back is beautiful. It's got an engraved or injection molded back cover for the battery with 599 and the logo embedded. Anyway, I would say the quality on the BP550 that comes with the Mic Papa version has much better quality and workmanship than the original BP500. Now, I know you guys are going to ask me about the IP ratings of both of these radios, but I don't know. What I can tell you, though, is I would have no problem using it as an axe or a hammer, but I wouldn't try using either of them as a surfboard. Now, if you have more specific questions, let me know in the comments, and if you know one of the answers to some of the questions you see in the comments, please help answer those. Help each other, guys. For now, these are all the main differences that I could find between the two radios. If I miss something, please put it in the comments. So now we can talk about battery and charging of the TX-500 Mic Papa. My version came with the BP550 battery pack already attached, although it didn't include the 18650 batteries that go along with it. I ordered those separately. Nevertheless, I ordered them, I got them in. Flat top 18650 lithium ions, 6 of them, configured in 3S2P, that's 3 in series 2 in parallel configuration within the battery pack. I have to say, I very much love the idea of not using proprietary battery packs for portable ham radios. The fact that I can simply install 18650 cells, lithium ion 18650 cells, is a true game changer and a feature I'd like to see adopted in the rest of the portable ham radio community. So, there's 2 different ways to charge the BP550 battery. You can either use the 13 to 50 volt input, or you can use USB-C power delivery. The 13 to 50 volt input is pure insanity and absolutely welcome. It's outstanding because it allows us to connect directly a solar panel to the radio to charge it up. But the USB-C power delivery also means that I can use an external power bank, like my Anker Prime 250 battery bank, to have a pocket portable power supply to charge up my battery or to augment my ham radio battery when I'm out in the field. Here you can see I've connected the Anker Prime 250 to the USB-C power delivery port of the TX-500MP. As we can see, the BP550 battery pack itself tells us that it's charging and the state of charge, but we can also see the state of charge, battery voltage, and all battery information on the front of the radio if we choose to enable that feature. It's just a 0 or 1 setting to view the battery state. So from the front panel, we can see which input is being used, either DC or USB. We can see the state of charge and the load on the system. Now, when we have a DC source for power plugged into the BP550, that meter displaying the load switches over to telling us how much power is coming in from that DC port. Here I'm going to directly plug in a 100-watt power film solar panel into the into the 13 to 50 volt DC input on the BP550 battery pack. That power film panel has an open circuit voltage of 22 volts, which the TX-500 Mike Papa is happy to receive through the BP550 battery pack. If you were to ask me why other portable ham radios don't have this functionality, this wide voltage input functionality, I'd tell you that I have absolutely no idea. Just to lock it down, wide voltage input and USB-C power delivery charging both make it incredibly easy for the operator to keep his radio powered up in the field. Why other manufacturers aren't doing this, I really don't know. But let me know in the comments if you think other manufacturers should adopt these features: wide voltage input, integrated charging circuit, and or USB-C power delivery to keep our radios powered up. At least I think so. One of the things I like about the TX-500 Mike Papa, which differentiates it from other man-portable ham radios, is the fact that it can put out 10 watts from its internal battery pack while disconnected from any DC power supply. Now, 10 watts may not sound like a lot, but when you're operating a wide bandwidth mode like phone or VADA 2300, any sort of wide bandwidth mode, that little bit of extra power will actually help to get your signal through. And if I can get that 10 watts of output without carrying an external battery pack, that would be absolutely magnificent. So here I am operating MAM Portable with the TX-500 Mike Papa. I'm returning the call of a POTA operator to Echo Zero Joliet Sierra. There wasn't any fiddling around with the radio. I simply picked up the speaker mic and carried out the QSO with this operator.
To Echo Zero Juliet Sierra, Oscar, Hotel, number 8, Sierra, Tango, November, portable station, QSL. That is correct, sir. That is correct. Kilo Papa 25, Quebec Charlie. Kilo Papa 25, Quebec Charlie, QSL. Thank you very much, sir. Your report 5 and 5. Your report 5 and 5 here. Good signal, not very strong, but very easy to read. Thank you very much. 7-3.
Oscar Hotel 8 Sierra Tango November portable. Now here's another QSO between myself operating out of the ham radio caravan to a station in Italy Kilo 4 Uniform Papa India, again at 10 watts.
Portable. Good afternoon. Not very strong. I give you a report next door. Santo. Sierra Alpha November Tango Oscar in Parma City. Oscar Hotel 8 Sierra Tango November. India Kilo 4 Uniform Papa India.
India Kilo 4 Uniform Papa India. Operator here is Julian. Your report 5-9, very strong and a pleasure to listen to. Now, the point I'm really trying to make here is not showing you some fantastic contacts or QSOs. I want to show you what you can actually do with a very basic but incredibly rugged radio. Lab599 didn't waste their time and energy on putting lots of bells and whistles in the radio. Instead, they spent their effort making a radio which would actually survive our field deployments. Now, before we move forward with the data communications portion of this video, let's take a moment to remind you about something that you may have forgotten. I don't get paid or take sponsorships for videos on this channel or on my blog. So if you like what I do and you want to support the channel and blog, you can buy one of my books. I'll leave a link in the description. All right, guys, let's move on. This is my very first Winlink session with the Lab599 TX-500 mic Papa, my Microsoft Surface Go, and the DL4KA Link 500 mic Papa, audio interface and TNC with integrated GPS, sitting on top of the Lab599 TX-500 mic Papa. If you've been around this channel for a while, you would already know that the meat and potatoes of this channel are off-grid power and data communications. So it should come as no surprise to you that I was vastly disappointed when I realized the TX500 mic Papa didn't come with an internal audio interface. However, that's not the end of the story. Thanks to our friend Oliver Delta Lima 4 Kilo Alpha, the designer and manufacturer of the PA500 amplifier, we have data communications for the Lab599 TX500 mic Papa. The data interface is called the Link 500 mic Papa. So here's a prototype of the Link 500 mic Papa. It's got a built-in VFO. It's got a built-in GPS. It's got a pass-through port for the microphone. It's got an audio interface and robust packet RPR built in. It's got a USB-C power delivery port, 12-volt DC port for powering the radio without the battery pack, but a USB-C port for powering the radio, upgrading firmware or CAT control, and finally, Bluetooth for connecting your iOS, your Mac OS, your iPad OS, Android devices, or even Windows or Linux devices over Bluetooth. Bottom line, if you love this radio but you're worried about data communications with it, you need the Link 500 mic Papa. This is the way to go. You know, when we think about the MAN portable or portable radios on the market today, Zygo is probably the only company that includes an internal antenna tuner on its radios. Now, I'm a big fan of the off-center fed dipole, especially from TIM N9 Sierra Alpha Bravo. But when it's windy, cold, raining, or just otherwise terrible weather conditions, I prefer to deploy a broadband antenna, preferably a vertical antenna like the one you see in this clip. This is the Chameleon Impas. Now, what I probably failed to put enough emphasis upon early on was the internal antenna tuner on the TX-500 mic Papa. Here you can see my demonstration of the antenna tuner. I've got a 30-meter off-center fed dipole, and I'm using the internal antenna tuner just to tune it up randomly across the HF band. Now, how Lab599 was able to, in the same form factor as the TX500, the original, include an antenna tuner, plus all of the other features we have on this radio, is beyond me. Unlike Yaesu and ICOM, they included it in the price. So again, I really believe the ham radio community should be paying attention to the innovations in this radio. All right, guys, so this was part one of the video. What I want you to do now is leave your questions and comments about the radio and about the audio interface for you data mode operators. Leave them in the comments, and those questions or comments with the highest number of likes, I'll try to combine those into another video, part 2 of this video, where I answer those questions. I think that's a more practical way to figure out what to talk about with this radio, with the audio interface, or with anything to do with Lab599. Be kind, though. I know there's a lot of haters with this radio, but you know what? regardless of that, the ham radio community should really be paying attention to it. It's innovative because it's rugged, it's utilitarian, it's everything I've wanted from a portable ham radio since back in the day. So leave me those questions and comments. And with that said, if you like what I'm doing, if you like the content I'm creating, please let me know by leaving me a comment, a thumbs up, a super thanks, or purchasing one of my books. And if it's not too much to ask, and this is actually the most important part, please share this video with someone or someplace where other operators might find it. Rock and roll, guys. You are all absolutely awesome. Thanks for watching. Ciao.